Woodbridge Radio, Common Sense Conversations.
Hi everyone, and thanks for tuning in. This following audio recording is a short conversation I had with my good friend, Dr. Kapp MD. Dr. Kapp has been an emergency room physician for over 35 years. He's also a Guinness Book of World Records holder, and he has written 5 books and will soon come out with his 6th book. Recently, Dr. Kapp has been researching anti-aging techniques in a program he's designed called the Blue Zoning Program. I wanted his opinion on a few of the things I've been researching for my books. For example, in my book, The Way of the Warrior, I often talk about the need to get out into nature, and I cite a couple of studies from Japan on the phenomenon there known as forest bathing. I also wanted his opinion on things such as grounding, which is again in my book, The Way of the Warrior, and again whether or not it has a scientific validity to my claims in the book. And finally, I'm working on a book on community, and my research has shown that community is an important ingredient in preventing disease and aging, so I wanted to get Dr. Ron's opinion on that. Again, this is just an informal conversation I'm having with a good friend and getting his very valuable opinion on some of the principles we are working with today. Thanks.
I just watched a video series called the Human Longevity Project, and it's 4 CDs, about 10 hours of videos or so.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about all this stuff about community and health. And the guy went around to the blue zones of Costa Rica, Italy, Greece, Japan, and interviewed all these people. And then he talked about and interviewed all the scientists and doctors here in our country about their philosophy, and sort of combined exactly what I'm doing. It was fascinating.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Everybody's doing it, and the whole idea is community.
Yep.
Everybody in Sardinia, Costa Rica says, you must have community. You have to eat together, live together, help together, and join together. That's one of the answers to living long. And it's one of the answers of fighting, of course, government corruption and psychopaths. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tremendous, easy answer, but it's just hard to do.
Yeah, because all these people...
That would have such benefits if we could just do it.
Yeah.
God, it would have such benefit. I know it would. That's what they do in these countries. They go to the local pub and they have coffee together. That's so beneficial to our health. And we know how healing music is. Music alone, just music itself.
Yeah.
And then you add the camaraderie and because we're social beings. We're very gregarious. We are like cows. We need to be in herds and socialize with our friends and family. What I want to focus towards is people have to take responsibility for their own health and wellness. That's critical. You can't leave it up to the doctor. Number one, they only give you 15 minutes of their time. Number two, they're focused on pathology and disease, one pill for one disease. And number three, it's all money driven for them. It's my health. It's my life. Therefore, I have to take responsibility to say, what can I do now? Now, if something happens and I get really sick and I need my appendix removed, I want to go to the surgeon. Or if I need chemotherapy, I want to go to the oncologist. Or if I have bad pneumonia, I want to go to the pulmonologist. But before that happens, I have to take responsibility for my health and wellness. How do I do that? Blue zoning is the answer. So we are poised on a precipice of a revolution in healthcare. And that'll be good for everyone. And healthcare now is $3 trillion in the U.S. budget. 20% of our gross domestic product is healthcare. It's going higher.
That's ridiculous.
20% is healthcare.
And
I don't know how much defense is, but that's a big chunk too. So healthcare and defense are big money spenders, but healthcare is increasing faster than defense. Healthcare is going up exponentially. So now we have to say, how do we stop this spiral of healthcare expenses? The only way is prevention and wellness, and it's our personal responsibility. It's going to break us. It's a war. It's an internal war that nobody's talking about. Nobody's addressing it. Obamacare didn't address it. Trump's administration is not addressing it. The next administration is not going to address it. Only the consumer can address it. Only you can address it. Okay. Well, now that we solved that issue.
Yeah, no, I was saying too. I said, look, I've got the solution. Forming communities to solve all these problems is the solution. Now, there is one big obstacle, and that is everybody's personal apathy.
Yeah.
If they won't do it, it won't happen. If they do it, problem solved. But they won't do it.
So we need an apathy pill.
Yeah, apathy pill.
Oh, man. Well, the most precious resource we have is our time and our health. But as we get older, time is shorter and health gets more and more tenuous.
Yeah.
And we get less apathetic as we get older because we see the fact that, time is running out.
Yep.
Oh, I'm getting sicker. What do I do? But if we can address that when we're a little bit younger, we can delay by years or decades getting sick, the spending of money. We can save all that money, save our country, and win the war on disease.
Need to get people motivated.
Yeah. That's a tough one, buddy.
Yeah, that is a tough one, I know. I've been thinking about it, but I don't have too many solutions. Well, there's the usual solutions. Scare them, bejesus out of them.
That's one. Revolution. What starts revolutions is they're fed up with the status quo.
Yeah.
They're saying, this sucks. My life, this sucks. This system sucks. Well, right now, we still love our doctors. We hate the system, but we love our doctors. Everybody loves their personal doctor.
Yeah.
Everybody hates the system.
Yeah.
So it's the system we have to revolt against, not the doctors.
Yeah.
In fact, nurses are doing most of the work. I was in the ER the other day watching a doctor and a nurse interact. The nurse was doing all the work, putting in the IV, getting the medicines, taking care of the patient, and the doctor was on her computer just filling out the orders and the forms and making a note, and didn't even interact with the patient. The nurse was interacting with the patient.
Wow.
And it was really I should have made a video of it. It was quite striking to see that as an objective observer watching this other doctor just typing away on the computer, not interacting with the patient at all. The nurse was interacting with the patient. What do we need doctors for? The nurse, in fact, what was the funniest part, the nurse knew exactly what to do, and the doctor was just inputting what the nurse was doing. Because emergency medicine is very simplistic medicine. Because we're still a biological system. We're still going to have errors in the programming of our body for whatever reason. And I'm working on stopping aging, but we haven't gotten there yet. And as long as the body continues to deteriorate with age, these are the byproducts of metabolism, your reactive oxygen species, your buildup of metabolic byproducts and body waste, cellular waste, that is toxic. And one of the first things the body needs to do is go through a detoxification process. That's really important because I've been living all these years with bad food, American food, living all these years in the environment of pollution. We say global warming, but it's really global pollution into my body. I think I saw somewhere 80,000 chemicals have been manufactured, pharmaceutical chemicals, chemical chemicals, paints and things, and they're all in the human body.
Yeah.
In the last 100 years, they weren't there 1,000 years ago in our body. Now they are. What is that doing to my DNA in my cells, in my mitochondria, and in my nucleus? Those chemicals have an effect. We know that they're having an effect. They're affecting my proteins, affecting my brain. And maybe that's what Alzheimer's is. It's a accumulation of all these chemicals, and some people just cannot clear it. In fact, beta amyloid. You mentioned your mom had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
She had this beta amyloid buildup in her brain, the neurofibrillary plaque and tangles. That was a protective mechanism to protect her brain from toxicity. The problem was her body had too much of it. She couldn't clear it because the body will clear that at night when you sleep. So if you're not sleeping properly, your beta amyloid is building up in your brain daily, every day. And the less you clear it, the more you slide into the abyss of dementia and Alzheimer's. It takes decades.
Yeah.
But eventually you're there at the bottom of that abyss. And you can't get out. I saw a study just came out in the British Medical Journal. Oh, I wish I had the statistics. If you exercise 42 minutes a day, your chances of chronic disease is decreased by 24%. But here's what's interesting. You exercise double that, 64 minutes a day, you also double your chances of less heart disease, less chronic diseases. You have the statistics and numbers. Can't remember off the top of my head yet. But they're saying activity, just this little bit of extra activity, and you are decreasing your chances of chronic diseases of aging, which means heart disease, cancer, diabetes, dementia.
Yeah.
The four big ones.
Yeah.
Stefan, have you heard about the Japanese called forest, F-O-R-E-S-T, forest bathing?
Yes.
They walk in the forest. I think we talked about it maybe.
Yep.
They're walking in the forest. They get there walking, plus they're getting the aromatic compounds from all the trees. They're getting the oxygen from the trees. They're seeing the beauty of the trees, the awe of the trees, awe of nature. And that's healthy.
I downloaded it. It's on my computer. I downloaded a couple of the studies because I was going to use that in one of my books. I forget. But they did studies to show that the amount of stress and heart disease and arthritis and all the, all those typical aging symptoms drastically reduced by going for a walk in the forest once a week.
Yeah.
I heard another theory as well that says the pollen in the air of a forest is part of our genetic makeup and helps to keep our genetic integrity. That we evolved in forests and we used the same, somehow the pollen, the molecules, the aromas, the smells of a forest integrate with your body and keep your body healthy.
Makes total sense to me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because there's a different chemistry in the forest than in the city. In the city, it's, diesel fuel, it's pollution, it's all the dust. Whereas in the forest, it's all natural. That's how we evolved. And that stuff is absorbed into the body, into your lungs, onto your skin, into your mucous membranes.
Yep.
And it's going to affect you epigenetically. The histone proteins around your cells. It's going to affect your mitochondria. Mitochondria were bacteria.
Right.
That the body didn't have. Now they're in our body. All these bacteria, that's an exogenous source of bacteria in our body that's now living in symbiosis with my health.
So you agree with that theory? It makes sense to me too. I'll be honest with you.
100%. I agree 100%. And I've seen studies that show that. Makes total sense. Whereas a child who lives in the city and he never goes outside, never gets exposed to any pollution at all, they're sicker. They have lots of asthma, lots of eczema, lots of immune type problems because they weren't exposed to dirt. For some doctors recommend eating dirt. I haven't gone that far yet.
Yeah.
They say you need the bacteria from dirt. Eat it. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a little bit crazy. What I do is, when I'm in the forest and I'm doing gardening or rummaging around, I won't wash my hands for a while.
Well, that's very good, and because that is the bacteria that's being absorbed.
Yeah, I'm letting it absorb through my skin rather than eat
yes.
it.
And that's healthy. That gives our microbiome in our gut healthy bacteria. There's thousands of bacteria species in our gut. So when you're out in the dirt in the forest, rummaging around in the debris and the detritus of decomposition, oh my goodness gracious, that is so healthy for the human being at all stages of our life, not just when you're a child, but when you're old. What do they do in the blue zones? They all have gardens.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing in the dirt every day almost.
The other correlation with the forest bathing is I also like to go barefoot. Of course, there are theories that by going barefoot, you're able to ground yourself and discharge the negative ions in your body back into the earth. There's a whole theory that a lot of health revolves around the electrical charge within the cells of the body. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh man, I just read a book called resonance effect, R-E-S-O-N, resonance, A-N-C-E, resonance effect. And it's about microcurrent therapies. This girl, Carol McCracken, totally believes in it. I loved her book. She teaches a seminar. And the microcurrent therapy is, these are machines now that put microcurrent at a certain frequency into your body. That's what the different red light therapies do, because red light at a certain nanometer frequency is putting red light into your body. So you can do microcurrent, you can do red light. What is music therapy? Music is all frequency driven. It's all energy driven. So the whole field of energy medicine is something we medical doctors know zero about, but something that alternative integrative doctors know a whole lot about. They're studying this big time. So it's huge. It's a huge field now.
Yeah, and wasn't there, I'm bad with the names now, there was a doctor back in the 1930s that invented a machine that would produce frequencies that targeted specific problems within the body.
And quite a few of those. Dr. Reif was one of them.
That's
Royal
it.
Reif.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Reif machine is still out there. They blackballed him.
Yeah.
But the Reif frequency machines were getting good results. Of course, the government said he is a complete quack.
Yeah.
They didn't want to research it. They took his, they shut him down, basically. He died in the 50s or 70s, I forget. Royal Reif really had a following. They still sell Reif machines to this day, but nobody's doing any real research. They're not, of course, FDA approved. Government hates this. Doctors don't know anything about it whatsoever. There's some validity to this guy. I haven't had enough time to study his stuff very much, but I need to, because he's written whole books. Whole books about this.
Huh.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. So, but it ties in again with the whole blue zoning effect, with the forest bathing, the being exposed to bacteria of the forest, the groundings, the negative ions, the frequencies of music and singing, and then the actual frequencies involved in something like the Reif machine. They all have a commonality in that the body is, or the health of the body has a sympathy with frequencies. Something works on an electrical spectrum.
Yes.